guess who's on time today? Your boy is on time today. Okay? That means I'm not coming on at 6:35. I'm not coming on at, what was it, 7:13. Okay? We are on time. That means you owe me a like button. That's right. Go ahead and take your finger and just abuse that like button one time for the one time. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Your Real Life. Welcome back to the Inner Storyteller. Welcome back to the channel. Please consider subscribing. It will notify our merciful overlords that I want this channel to do something and be in front of people one day. And please know and remember that if you are here, that you are in for some real conversations. We talk about natural law, religion, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and the great. Money, anarchy, culture, and how mankind is manipulated from the shadows by forces that do not have our best interests at heart. Perhaps because they are completely evil. I don't know. But we are not bashing faith systems here. We are not calling people stupid for having a religion. We are simply examining the psychological affects and effects of the stories that we have the most faith in, the ones we have the most stake in, and how those stories help shape culture. And that examination always has to sit right alongside an honest look at the current human condition, which is slavery. Government is slavery, good people, as you will definitely be able to see today, as we will explore the police state and some other juicy, juicy topics. But the question that we have to keep coming back to is, what can actually be improved with a proper understanding of the inner storyteller and how it works? And with that being said, I know you saw the thumbnail. I know you're excited to get into today's content. For today, we have Mr. Auren back in the building.
Hello. What's up, y'all?
Know what I'm saying? Dragon Na Firine, as I try to pronounce the words, on TikTok. How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing much better now that I'm off a long day at work. It was stressful, so I'm glad to be home to relax, decompress,
Yeah,
some good conversation. So
yeah,
we're doing good.
absolutely.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good as well. I'm very excited. I'm always first of all, let's just go ahead and announce Fridays is a thing now, guys. Fridays. We got me, we got Auren, we
Look
got
at
real
that.
conversations, we got natural law, and what we have thought might be best appropriate, since me and Auren think so very similarly, which means big picture. We're both big picture conceptualizers. We synthesize the tiny bits into big picture things so that we never run out of things to talk about. We are going to react to some stuff. Okay, we're going to react and we're going to talk about the big picture aspects of these things, and how, um as you saw in the thumbnail, how rebellion is the awakening. The awakening is rebellion.
Mhm.
So, without further ado,
I
welcome
do.
to, or welcome back to my exactly. Welcome back to my save file, and let's start reacting to some videos. The first one is this lady over here. She just lays out exactly all of the important things that we need to keep in mind as we traverse and navigate these waters called America, and really just the whole world, the whole religion of monetary value and all of its components. But check this out. Very, very well informed lady.
Let me see if I got this right. So they took away our SD cards, our memory sticks, and then started charging us for memory to store our data. Okay. Then they started taking away our VHSs and our DVDs and then started charging us to stream movies. Okay. Then they took away our little headphone jack and then started charging us all kinds of amounts for Apple products to make up for not having that headphone jack. Then they started taking away our rights to fix our own cars. And now you got to take it in to go get fixed. Let's see, what else is there? Then they started taking away farmers' rights to have seeds. So they can't grow certain fruits and vegetables anymore. But then they start selling us seedless fruits.
Mm.
So, okay. There's a lot. The list goes on. You guys tell me what did we used to have that they have taken away?
We got in the comments, oxygen subscriptions are surely next. Let me make us bigger
Right.
again. Collecting rainwater. It's not allowed in many states.
True.
Big data companies are scanning books and destroying the paper copies. That's very true. There's
That
camera.
is. Yeah. I recently heard about that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's very sad.
Not to store the information, just to train their AI.
To train their AI, and when it's in a digital space, if you want to just edit whatever the author from the 1800s said.
Mm-hmm. That was a big thing with Wikipedia.
Okay. It's crazy too. We grew up in the era of, hey, Wikipedia is not a reliable source because it's open sourced.
Right.
And now everybody's just like, oh, all the teachers and stuff, all the professors, well, ask AI. Just ask AI.
Right.
Like, well, wait a minute. Wait a second. I am a millennial, sir. I remember the time. Like Michael Jackson. Monthly prescriptions to get your own printer to print.
I saw a video about that too.
Mm-hmm.
HP.
No more free air at gas stations for your tires. That was a while ago. That was probably like 10 years now. At least
I was going to connect that one to the air subscription, right? Because I'm like, they've already been charging for air forever. Just go to any gas station.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You've been breathing air for about 16 hours today. I'm going to need 50 cents. You used to be able to open your phone, change the battery, but now you have to get it professionally done or get the new iPhone. Shopping bags. And like she said, the list goes on and on and on. I think one of the craziest things in her list of things is not the memory cards. It's the right to repair your car. The whole right to repair conversation is actually really huge, and not just among dealerships, but also among the consumers. Now, not everybody in my generation is like buying a whole bunch of cars and stuff like that, but people a little bit older than me, how old are you, Auren?
38.
38. So around you and a little bit more, let's say 45 max or so.
Mm-hmm.
They're talking about it. And obviously legislation is already being introduced that's like anti right to repair.
Mm-hmm.
And this hurts master mechanics, like, your buddy and yourself. I don't know if you're a master mechanic. I know you said you're a mechanic by trade.
Yeah, for 20 years I've been in the automotive repair industry.
Nice.
And I started kind of like at the introductory level, just oil changes, tires, brakes, the simple stuff, really. But I've worked my way up to like store management, and that's what I do now. Is I manage a small mom and pop shop, and so this particular topic, the right to repair, is something that affects me and my guys directly. I'm in that business, so I follow all that stuff.
And all of the stuff that is relevant and that we talk about on this channel, at least, from surveillance to like police state, just control state, if you will, to planned obsolescence and engineered obsolescence, all of it touches that right to repair legislation. What are your general thoughts about that shit, besides obviously throw it away?
I think it's absolutely criminal, and knowing what I know about how things operate, not just in this country, but in the world, I understand why it's happening. It's pretty easy to find. It's public record that, Ford and GM, especially the two big automotive manufacturers here in the United States, have been lobbying to remove the right to repair from the general public because, as an example, the CEO for Ford has stated on camera that they're 150,000 technicians short, and they don't want people doing their own warranty work The idea is that they're losing money here at the dealership specifically because people are turning now more towards, smaller mom and pop shops and even some corporate companies outside of the dealership, as long as it's not the manufacturer, because they save a lot of money by doing so.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot
Mm-hmm.
cheaper. These dealerships have extraordinary labor rates that they're charging for these jobs that they're doing. So, the right to repair is essentially what gives people the right to choose a place other than the dealership to get their cars fixed. But because of that, obviously these dealerships are losing money to their shops on the back end after you buy the car from the dealership because nobody's really going to the dealership to have the services done. That's why they've come out with these recent deals. Like when you go buy a brand new car, they'll offer the first 2 years of oil changes for free or whatever, some variants
Mm-hmm.
thereof. Because the idea is to get you back to the dealership. And then once you're there for that basic service, they're going to try to upsell you on a bunch of other stuff that follows your, manufacturer's scheduled maintenance, whatever, because they want to try to
Mm-hmm.
make that money at the back end in the service department.
Absolutely. And as a matter of fact, it feeds directly into what I'm getting ready to, here we go, share here. And I'm gonna let this guy speak for a second, and then we're gonna continue this conversation.
Do you want to know why Chinese stuff is so cheap? And cheap is an interesting word. Let me tell you about quality first. First of all, to answer the question, we are designed not just Chinese products, but every major industry, every product that we see, it is designed to not last long. It's designed that way. There's a reason we release a new iPhone every year. You don't need a new iPhone every year. There's a reason why your car doesn't last more than 5 years, 10 years. There's a time, and it's really, I want to say easy, but we can do it. We can make an engine last 10, 15, 20 years, no problem. 200, 300, a million miles, we can make it happen. We don't do it because we're living in this system where that does not produce capital, where it does not produce money and continuously ARR, MRR, whatever metrics you want to measure. It's no benefit to sell something that lasts forever. That's the reason. So, anyways, now you know.
There's no benefit to sell something that lasts forever. Now, obviously, that's not true. On its face, that's not that that guy is trying to be deceitful. Of course, he's being truthful, but but that is a notion that comes out of that, and on its face, it's completely false. Obviously, if you make something that lasts forever, that has value. Obviously, if you make something that's useful, is used, and um, gives the desired result of the consumer, that has value, and it has value forever. They can give it to their kids, they can give it to their kids, whatever. But we are um, trained to accept the obsolescence of things coming faster and faster and faster and faster over time. And at the same time, getting hit with prospect legislation to stop us from being able to repair the things when they break. Because it's not just the right to repair as far as cars, but everything is getting smarter. Everything is getting more mini computers, more sensors, more things that can break, more things that are made with half oil, half metal material, right? Oil meaning plastic.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know what I'm saying? Composite wood, all of these things. And the price tag, even though the material is getting cheaper, whether it's material to ship or material to do something else with, the material itself is cheaper. It's not rarer. It's more and more abundant. Um, right? Companies are going to manufacture big warehouses to get materials, and they can keep going back to that one warehouse. They don't have to when that warehouse is low, they have to go find somewhere in fucking Thailand to get that's not the thing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have less quality ingredients making less quality products lasting for a lot less time as far as being able to do stuff with it. Get a lot less uses, and it's way more expensive out the gate. And not
Mm-hmm.
only is it way more expensive out the gate, but it's also a tag on the price tag if you want a warranty, if you want insurance, if you want um 24-hour, I don't know, 24-hour call service or something, right? Depending on what the product is or the service is.
Mm-hmm.
Uh Insane, bro.
Dude, it's outrageous. It's outrageous. And again, in my industry, I see it every day. Car parts and the whole car nowadays is nowhere near the quality that it
Oh, it's
used to be.
garbage.
Yeah. I mean, we have all these fancy gizmos and gadgets on our modern cars now, but the older cars that were far more basic and were designed to do quite literally one thing, drive you where you need to go, you
Mm-hmm.
know, were built to last. It wasn't that way early on. There's a reason why you had to change your oil every 3,000 miles, and it goes back to the days of when cars didn't have oil filters. But, for the most part, they were still built to a far higher quality and used stronger materials, steel,
Absolutely.
as opposed to like aluminum bodies, things like that.
My
But I think
first car. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think this kind of touches on something far deeper too, not just the
Mm.
fact that we have this engineered obsolescence built into all of our products. It doesn't matter. Pick one, from your shoes to your
Yep.
kitchenware to your lawnmower, whatever. Doesn't matter. It's all designed to last a certain amount of time. Then you got to go either fix it, and if the manufacturers had their way, it'd be with them, or you got to replace it. Um, and so I think, in a way, that kind of touches on this whole thing about consumerism that everybody's been trained to
Mm.
adopt, right? Because the idea is with the engineered obsolescence, obviously you're trying to keep the capital coming in. If you build something that lasts forever, kind of like what, the Wankel rotary engine for cars used to be, it was a super reliable engine. When it failed, it
Right.
was generally catastrophic, but for the most part, those things weren't breaking. They had a massive reputation for longevity and quality. The problem is, for the manufacturer of that product, if you buy it only once, they're not making any more money off of you. And then at the same time, from childhood on, we're basically taught that if something breaks, well, just replace it. You can just get another one, because it's convenient, it's efficient, it's already there. You don't have to worry about fixing it, blah, blah, blah.
I think that also feeds into the whole capitalist mindset,
Yeah.
right? The whole the false notion, and this is a completely false notion, although I don't fault anybody for falling for it the same way I did, the same way Auren probably did. Um, where we have this repeated notion given to us from school to media to business people to shows like Shark Tank, whatever,
Mhm.
where we're told that merit drives the competition. And if you are competing and you are able to make a product and keep making that product and keep selling that product because you have the best product, or excuse me, if you have the best product, you are going to be able to keep selling that product because it's the best, right?
Mhm.
Then
Yeah.
if you buy out your competitors and keep other people from being able to compete, because not only are you kind of growing, but you're also now oligarching all of the resources to be able to do what you're doing. I.e., if you start making cars and then your garage for making cars keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, then you need more and more equipment and more resources to keep making more and more cars. Well, eventually, nobody around your local region is going to be able to do what you're doing.
Mhm.
And that is and like if any company wins the capitalist game, then they essentially become the government because they control the resources. And this is
Right.
the parallel to the oh, what are you, a commie? What are you, a communist? Um that the capitalists don't see. It's like, well, no, the ultimate end of capitalism is the exact same thing as the ultimate end of socialism, which is communism.
Yeah.
One centralized power that controls the resources and directs the political policy.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? They run parallel. Fascism, communism, socialism, capitalism, you name it. it's all under the same one religion of monetary value, and it all leads to the same end, which is a small group of human beings controlling the resources and influencing the thoughts, telling people what they have to think about the world that they live in, and that being the central power.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? That's the extreme of all of the different little um economic structures
Mm-hmm.
that we have to share this tab instead, choose from, if you will.
Right.
But let's go back. Let's react to another thing here. As we said in the beginning, government is slavery, and there are few voices in the world that are better at laying stuff like that out than my girl Candace here. Let's hear what she has to say on something that our great government has recently done that has fucked everybody. Let's hear what she has to say.
The United States tried to deny it. Like, I just want you to process how badly our government lies. They thought, we'll just deny it. Like, you don't know that you bombed a school. At first, Trump actually came out and he said, no, we didn't do it. It was Iran.
Mr. President, did the United States bomb a girls' elementary school in southern Iran on the first day of the war and kill 175 people?
Based on what I've seen, that was done by Iran.
Is that true, Mr. Hegseth? It was Iran who did that?
We're certainly investigating.
Still investigating.
But the only side that targets civilians is Iran.
Did y'all see how his face, how Pete Hegseth is the secretary or the I think he's the head of the Department of War or something, or some secretary of something. I don't care.
Well, he's
high up.
supposed to be Secretary of Defense, but he's the Secretary of War.
There we go.
Yeah.
Did y'all see his face when the person wanted him to confirm what Orange Man just said? He's like, huh? Me? What? Huh?
Yeah.
We're certainly investigating. I'm not going to confirm or deny what this guy just said, but he is the boss. So,
Right.
guys, my life is on the line. Can you chill the fuck out?
Yeah. That's like the reporter asking him to basically validate how good Trump's suit looks, and he's like, don't ask me. It looks great. Like, regardless
it was
of what he
made in
thinks.
France.
Right. Yeah.
Let's keep going.
He's like, I'm just a girlfriend. Don't ask me.
We know that Tomahawk missiles are typically fired from ships and submarines, and we know that on the day of the attack, America had a carrier strike group in the area. This is, I'll get up for you, a satellite image of their carrier strike group with the USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier and then 3 warships around it in the Arabian Sea 3 days before the attack. We have another image which we've been able to use to place them on the day of the attack based on the information shown on this monitor here, and that puts the carrier strike group right within range of MINAB. These are precision-guided missiles. They follow a programmed path. They have cameras on the front that can watch what they're doing in real time. They're some of the most precise weapons that the US has.
Which makes this whole story disgusting. 175 people, 175 people in a school. I'll let you all decide what most of that population's age was. Not that that matters. Yeah. Not that that matters in the slightest, but it emotionally feels worse when it's kids.
Right. Innocent lives lost regardless.
Because the kids are going to be affected if it's a bunch of adults. Right. So
right.
Go ahead. So I don't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, I was going to say, but it's only exacerbated by the fact that, yes, these were children. They attacked children. Girls. It was a girls' school, by the way.
So these are not people that were going to grow up and be combatants against the United States. This is just sick and disgusting.
Yes.
It makes you want to burn an American flag or something. Like it makes you really mad. It makes me mad.
Let me go find one.
We know that by this point, Iranian media was already reporting that a school had been hit, and the US should have known by that point that at the very least, doing more strikes would have been in the vicinity of that school.
One analyst reviewing intelligence on potential targets did reportedly spot the school in 2019. Allegedly, they noted changes.
It's 2026, guys. It's 2026. I think this attack happened in it might have been 2025, but I'm pretty sure this attack, this murder massacre, I should say, happened in 2026. 2019, this school was identified in Iran.
Yeah, 7 years they've known this was a school.
On an unlinked intelligence tool. But it wasn't passed up the chain.
The reason I'm showing you that is because you should go and you should watch that entire piece. Sky News did an incredible job on that, because it's really important for you to understand how much our government hates us. They think we are so stupid. I mean, it's one thing to say like, hey, we did this by accident and we need to come out, we need to own it. It is another thing to routinely feed slop to the masses and to do it while claiming you have the upper hand, to have willfully, it was not a mistake. You bombed at the beginning of this in elementary school using what intel? Do you understand how advanced our military technology is? They knew every body that was moving in that school and they chose to bomb it. My honest belief is because we are looking at people who worship Baal and it was a sacrifice to demons. The United States.
And you know, I love the way that she puts things together.
Mm-hmm.
Because she can say the most obvious thing, but it's like, yes, thank you for saying it, and thank you for saying it like that. On the biggest podcast platform the world has ever seen. Right? She blows Joe Rogan's numbers out the water when you take all of the platforms together.
Consistently. Yep.
And now, first of all, for my audience, when she says something like sacrifices to Baal is a figure, a deity figure that many Satanists have claimed to have interacted with. Figures like Anton LaVey, and Baal is very ancient. I mean, we're talking about 6,000-7,000 years of recognition of this demonic entity by name. There's a awesome segment. As a matter of fact, we're going to react to it today. I'm going to go ahead and look it up while I'm saying this. An awesome segment on Mark Passio's What on Earth is Happening channel, where his presentation called Demystifying the Occult Part 2.
Mm-hmm.
You seen that one?
No, but it's right on line with what I've been saying for the longest time, is that, what we're seeing now is not a political problem, even though they put everything into political terms and they argue that this is, the US government keeping the American people safe from the Iranian government, because Iran is evil. But this is actually a very spiritual war disguised as a political war. And it's mind-boggling to me. And I think, like, specifically with the part where they were, talking about that girls' school that got bombed, I have a theory that, this was shown on public television and they're not really hiding this in the effort to, I think, send a message. And I think that in some ways they might be sending a message to the American people by showing this, like, hey, this is this is not only the technology that we have, but this is also like what we're willing to do, regardless of human conscience.
Oh yeah.
Or empathy or whatever. It's like they were willing to drop bombs on a children's girls' school in Iran, which, again, I think sends a message to the American people. Like, if you see that we're willing to do this, what do you think we would be willing to do to you? Assuming that, some type of uprising or revolution or whatever, because the government knows what they're doing. They can't not know what they're doing, and they have to know.
And beyond just that, Auren,
Mhm.
the people at the top do not believe in government. They know
Mhm.
it's all mind control. They're laughing at us.
Yeah, and they know that they're hired actors.
They call their soldiers and their domestic police forces, their dogs.
Yeah.
This is confirmed by figures like Mark Passio, who were in the lower rankings and got out.
Yeah.
But on that note, I know I cut into your thought here.
No, you're great. You're fine.
Yes, it's I gotta get it. So remember, Candace said at the end there, her honest belief is that this was a sacrifice to Baal.
Yes.
This will add some context to what she said at the end.
That's true rebellion.
you can still see this, right?
Uh-huh.
You can see this.
Yep. The hidden
Auren?
god of the occult
Okay.
world.
Yeah.
And I was going to wrap it up there, but I have one more thing for you guys tonight, a little special section that I planned just for today. I call this the hidden god of the occult world. Or, there is only one God, and his name is Bill.
Very interesting.
You're laughing now, but wait till you see this.
Yeah.
Okay. In the ancient world, the solar deity in the oldest civilizations on Earth was referred to as Bil or Bel. B-I-L or B-E-L. Now, the actual vowel in the middle is relatively unimportant because ancient languages did not have vowels. If you go back into the ancient Sanskrit, Hebrew, Coptic Egyptian, Phoenician, all of these languages, Sumerian, they didn't really have vowels, okay? The consonant order that we're talking about here is B-L. B-L. It doesn't matter whether it's B-A-L, B-E-L, B-I-L, B-O-L, or B-U-L.
Or B
It's the
sometimes
B and
YL.
the L that matter, and the vowel sound is able to be substituted. Okay? So here is the god Bel in the Phoenicia-Canaan tradition, depicted with another solar deity with rays around his head. But that is one of the oldest stone relief depictions of the god Bel or Bill from the Phoenicia-Canaan tradition. And again, he was called Bel in the ancient Sumerian tradition as well. He was known in the Babylonian tradition and Akkadian tradition as Baal. Many people will know this name from biblical accounts because the name Baal is given in the Bible.
Okay, so that's how old this deity is. But first, we're going to see this whole section because it's such a mind-opening section. I love Mark Passio's presentations. This is Mark Passio, by the way. He doesn't know he has a brother out here in Texas who's black. But he's the man when it comes to this information. Check it out.
He was depicted as the bull, the golden bull of Sumeria. And again, you saw Baal depicted as a bull holding the golden child, okay? Because he was the sun god. This is all the solar deity, Bil or Bel, or Baal, okay? So here he is in the Mesopotamian tradition as the golden bull. This is, I believe, a golden statue from Iraq. Okay? And again, the word bull, B-U-L, there's the name in the word bull. Okay? The reason he was depicted as the bull, and again, Satan is depicted as the bull as well, and I'm not telling you that Bill or Bel is just all...
Satan is depicted as anything with horns. You got the bull, the ram, the goat in general, and then the humanoid goat with the horns at the top. Right, so pretty much anything with horns, you got some sort of depiction of Satan, depending on the ancient civilization, depending on the flavor, the time, the era, the animals that were around that culture at the time that it was originated.
Satanic. It was.
By the way, Auren, if anything comes to mind, you also have free reign to interrupt Mark. I'll pause it if something comes to your mind.
Viewed as
well, and I was just thinking about how interesting it is that that particular archetype and the symbology of the bull lines up with for any Christians out there the story of the golden calf in the book of Exodus in the Bible. Very
they got in trouble for that.
Yeah, they got in trouble for worshiping the golden calf in that, So very interesting, I think, that particular kind of connection. It's kind of, I don't know. It can't be a coincidence, that story's in there. Yeah. Obviously, are worshiping, some an animal with horns, of some kind. So the bull, like you said, the goat, things like that. But it's even in the Bible, you know.
Yep. And Sarah Cross and I were just talking about the Tower of Babel story.
Mhm.
Babel, Babylon. That's a part of this section as well. But I
Yeah.
forgot until just now. But the Canaanites and the first iterations of the Freemasonic mystery schools and stuff came
Mhm.
out of the fall of the Tower of Babel story. The confusion of the tongues and the separation of the people around the world.
Right.
There were some that went back and recovered the symbolic language and obviously ultimately created the mystery schools, which not all of them were malevolent, but the malevolent sects and denominations of these mystery schools later came to re up the worship of Baal, Bill, this archetype.
Yeah.
The sun, the light, the rejuvenator of the world, etc. It's where the solar cult of the ancient world derived this name, okay? And you know what Bill meant? Bill or Bel in the ancient world, it was an actual term. It wasn't really so much a proper name as it was a title. It meant master.
Just like God.
So you can look at that in two ways.
That's actually a really excellent point there too,
Mhm.
I think that for the vast majority of people, a lot of us are so obsessed with trying to figure out, the who of what's going on, right? We're trying to put the face to what's going on, whether it's the face of the families that are controlling everything or the face of the entity that they worship, right? Really interesting that he makes that point. So, the fact that he made that statement there, I think a lot of people should stop to think about, because the whole idea behind all of this, symbology and everything that is in that occult world, which is what this is, these are occultic people. It's about the symbology, and when it comes to like the particular gods that they worship, these are not necessarily real specific entities, but they're more an archetype, right?
Right.
So the qualities
100%.
that Bill or Baal or Baal was, is associated with, that's what they're worshiping, And for people who don't understand like what those qualities were for Baal specifically, if you research the traditions that talk about him, and if you're Gnostic, it was actually Yaldabaoth, same character, it doesn't matter the name really.
Right.
But he was a blind god, the creation of Sophia. So, and he's the one with all the attributes of like jealousy, his ego, his pride, his obsession with power, and his blindness, which basically was him not necessarily being physically blind, but blind to the fact that he was not the only deity in the Parthenon of all the deities. You had Sophia, you had, the creator or the consciousness, all those entities existed, but according to the story, he either didn't know this or just blatantly refused to accept it. And so that's
Right.
kind of where those characters come from. And, the occultic people who worship him, these dark families who have been part of this, that's why the bloodlines go so far back and why they're so protective over them so that they intermarry. It's been happening since the dawn of time. It's never
Dawn of
stopped.
time.
Went underground
Is
for a
the
while,
sun
but now
the
it's public.
master of light? We're receiving the creator's light, and we have to develop self-mastery through the light? Or is it about authority and the master, ruling over our lives and telling us what we must and must not do? It's two ways of looking at it, just like there's two aspects to the sun, two aspects to the light. There's the true light aspect, and then there's the dark sun. Okay, you have to be able to view these things as having multiple dimensions to them. When you get into the unidimensional way of seeing things, you're missing the point. Okay.
What he's saying is, people talk about people will paint a broad stroke over, let's say, the Freemasonic order. All Freemasons are evil and they have evil in their heart. That's a false statement. You don't know what's going on, and you cannot make knowledge of how the world works or knowledge of how the universe is set up and exploring, like putting to the test what you learn, a sin by itself.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You cannot make spiritually dangerous exploration of facts of truth a sin in your mind. And that's what happens when we go, anybody who is, I'll even say anybody who makes contact with a demonic entity that already exists, not that they're trying to summon something or create something new. They're probably all bad who do things like that. But people who come into contact with something and then are like, wait, what? You're a what? Wait, what? That's not evil on its face. And so that's what I just wanted to add that to what Mark was talking about.
Well, and I call those statements like that either blanket or umbrella statements. Those broad general statements. Like those people who constantly say, all people are greedy. And that's why we can't ever, make changes because all people. No, not
Human
all
nature
people are
is
greedy.
greedy.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just like it's a fixed trait that we can't fix. No, it's very much learned behavior, and it very much doesn't apply to everyone. Like not all witches are bad. There's a duality. There's good and evil to both sides.
Right. The occult, the word occult means hidden. Okay, so occult knowledge is knowledge that is deliberately hidden away. It's not knowledge that leads to Satanism. It's not knowledge that leads to violence. It's not knowledge that leads to bad behavior. It's knowledge that happens to be hidden away.
Yes, it's what you do with it that matters.
Okay. But the bull, he was depicted as the bull because the sun 6,000 years ago during the Sumerian civilization was in Taurus. The spring equinox was in Taurus then. This is known as the precession of the equinoxes. Okay? The sun didn't rise in Pisces on the eastern horizon. It rose in Taurus then. You trace those amounts of zodiacal houses back in the precession, that's about 6,000 years. That's how old the Sumerian tradition goes back. Okay? So, Taurus is the bull. And here you have the bull with the sun. It makes perfect sense. Okay? Now, we talked about May 1st, the midpoint of Taurus, the bull, being the high point of the occult holiday. The midpoint of spring being the highest occult Sabbath in the occultic year. And it's called Beltane. Beltane, Bel's wheel. This is the solar wheel. The zodiac is the houses that the sun passes through as a wheel during the course of the year. Well, that's Bel's disc, Bel's wheel, the sun's wheel. The civilization that came out of that time period of the world was Babylon, where all of this dark occultism ultimately came out of. Now, the word Bill is right in the middle of the word, Babylon. So we break down the word Ba. What does Ba mean in the ancient languages? It means spirit. Spirit. On. Jay talked about that word. On means light. And then
Spirit
Bill,
of the sun's light.
the sun god. So the spirit of the light of Bill, or the light of the spirit of Bill.
When I say this, there might be, if this video ever blows up, there might be some Christians that are like, oh, I'm unsubscribing now. But
Right.
I actually made my name. So my name's Soul Expression. Soul is the sun in Spanish. El Sol is the sun. So my name means expression of the sun's light. Right? Basically Babylon.
Yeah. What's interesting? We kind of have that our names have that similar part of like the first part. Mine, Auren. If you think aura, well, in the spiritual world,
it's light. Yeah.
your aura is your light. So Auren.
Absolutely.
Just another reason why we get along so well.
Must be. You didn't know you had a brother in Texas that was black either.
Right? I'm glad I
solar
do.
Deity. That's literally what the name Babylon meant. The light of Bill's spirit, the light of the sun's spirit. Okay? Well, what's the God of the world today?
That's a different kind of Bill.
It's Bill.
Same bill, different face.
That's right.
Same bill.
The dollar
Right?
bill.
How many symbols on this motherfucker?
Oh, dude.
So they just named it a bill, right? Just it's accidental. There's no connection here.
Nothing to see here.
What do we want all those bills
Pure
to do?
coincidence.
Well, we need them to pay bills. Bill has to be paid, He wants money. That's his thing. So we have to.
How much does it cost for the sun to shine?
Right? Exactly. How many invoices or bills from the sun do you get every month? Really?
Yeah. The sun, the earth, the moon, the air. They're all invoicing the bank so that the bank can invoice us and let us know that we owe Bill some bills.
Exactly.
To acquire Bill to pay Bill. The people who have the most of these bills are the billionaires. The ruling class are billionaires.
Oh, the connection.
They
oh,
long
man,
ago
I love
took
that.
all the
Bill
gold
is for the
bullion.
billionaires. Wow.
Ever
It's so
wonder what's
obvious,
called
dude.
bullion?
It's blowing your mind, right?
I had never heard
Let
that
me-
one before. It's so simple, so obvious. The bill is in the billionaires. Wow. It's so simple, but so like profound. If you really take the time to think about it, it's one of those conversations, or one of those topics you think about when you're high. You just sit there like, Bill, like, bro,
Bill, Bob,
it's,
Bell, Beltane,
how did I
billionaire.
miss
Oh
that?
shit!
It's named after their god, the bull. Well, on Wall Street, there's their god, the golden bull of Wall Street. They always want bull markets. They don't like it when there's bear markets.
For my investor friends out there, when the market is bullish, the market is going up. You're earning on your investments. Your equity had, if you were to sell it all, you'd have more than when you bought it. If the market is bullish, when the market is bearish, that's when it's going down. And a bear is of course always associated with forest, greenery, earth. The bull is the sun.
Yeah.
So you have up to the sun, down to the bear, bull. Just saying.
The symbology is just extraordinary.
The evidence never ends.
Right?
They want the bull market. And when there's not a bull market happening, they want a bailout. It's just an accident. It's all coincidence.
Fail again.
Nothing to see.
They distract us with ball games. All the males of society are, or most of them anyway, are distracted by the ball.
By the way, this video about 9 years ago. This presentation was like 10 or 11 years ago. Not 11. It's probably 10 years ago. This is before you can put stuff into an AI and say, hey, what are all of the word associations I can play with here? And no, this is a real researcher that consumed probably way too much real material.
Yeah, no joke. And a
for one
brilliant mind
lifetime.
can make the connections on like the wordplay there.
Yeah, I just wanted, because the first thing that I thought about was, damn, like AI would probably come up with this word association, but this is just his mind.
Yes.
He was so full of books. I'm talking like he's dead. So full of books.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
Brilliant guy.
Keep your eye on the bouncing ball. Don't worry about your freedom and rights being taken away. All manner of ball games. Baseball, basketball, football, soccer's played with a soccer ball, tennis with a tennis ball, golf with a golf ball. You can go on and on. And bowling. I even like bowling myself. I have a couple of bowling balls. So, ball games provide distractions. The young people of society, they want to grow up to either be a belle or a baller. Baller, street term for the super, rich, guy who, he's the cool, rich dude who, got his money from gaming. And the belle, our young women want to just grow up to be pretty. This is the word associated with beauty. Belle means beautiful, from their sun god, the beautiful deity. They distract us with billboards. It's where all the advertising goes to put subconscious messages into the mind.
Bill's boards.
Bill's boards.
Right?
Dude, and the advertisements are just never ending. You think about every billboard anywhere, it's all an advertisement to get your attention, to get your mind on like some product or service, that something is offering. Again, it's that consumerism. so that we want to go to work to earn more of those bills so that we can, just get more stuff, and pay those bills, your taxes, a bill that you pay to the government.
Yeah.
Never ending. The programming is everywhere. Your billboards, like, think about that. If you make that connection, so the billboard itself is it's witchcraft because it's based
Oh,
in
yeah.
paganism, the worship of this god.
And there's no other country that has all of these billboards on all of their highways.
Right.
There's no other country in the whole world. Now, of course, you go to Japan or you look at footage from Japan, and you'll see in the big metropolitan areas, there's almost just as much, maybe even more for Japan.
Oh yeah,
itself.
screens on all of their buildings.
As soon as you get outside the city, that shit's gone. You can go to any rural area in America, you still get billboards. You still get, hey, come buy something, come spend, come. Here, kitty. Like
Oklahoma here, so yeah, I can attest to that. Even in the small towns, them billboards are there.
Or even in the small town, that we have such a consumerist pattern of living.
Yeah, it's casting a spell on your mind.
In pop culture, music, which the dark occult worked through, is called the billboards. Actors are given billing in Hollywood. The Masons are referred to as the
builders.
Yes.
The builders, the Freemasonic order, the cathedrals, they're made by the master builder. You ever seen the Lego movie? The Master Builders. You haven't seen the Lego movie?
I hadn't watched the Lego movie, no.
Oh, you are missing out, good brother. That is the Lego movie, especially for a mind like yours, is a must watch. It's required reading for class. It is essential for truthers, especially that have a mind that can kind of in real time decode and still enjoy a movie.
Yeah.
If you watch the Lego movie, you are going to come out of that. Not only are you going to send me a text and be like, "Yo, you were right," but you're also you're going to be like, "Bro, who is Will Ferrell and what does he know? Because what the fuck?" Like,
right.
I'm not going to spoil it, but I will say that the main concept of the truthers in that universe are called master builders. Okay. And obviously Legos, you're talking about building things with Legos, and then once you kind of build it, it has a life of its own, or a use or something. You can build something, put a wheel on it, and now you can spin the wheel, whatever.
Yeah.
The master builders know how to build things with the Legos with the bricks that are all around them.
Yeah.
Not going to spoil the movie. You gotta see the Lego movie, the first one. There's
I'm gonna have to look up how to stream it now, I guess.
I'll buy it for you. You have to see the movie. But yeah,
It can't be more than $3.99.
yeah. It's on YouTube for exactly that amount.
I got it.
Builders, whether they be builders of the light or dark builders.
Right.
We're all builders of society.
Yep.
Two of the big forces ushering in negative political change, communism and Zionism. And these were led by the Bolsheviks and the Balfour Declaration. All right there in the word.
Nothing to see here. All coincidence. All coincidence, you silly conspiracy theorists.
Think about the Bilderberg group.
Okay, I think he's going to say that next. 100%.
But again, it's coincidence.
One of the biggest secret societies, the biggest think tank, occult secret societies in the world is the Bilderberg group.
Bro.
Well, you think that's accidental that the first place they met was the Bilderberg Hotel? Bilderberg means the foundation of Bill. Or in other words, the rock.
See, because he's big in breaking down words and looking at the etymology of words. So Bilderberg literally translates to the what do you say? What do you say? I don't want to get it wrong. Let me.
of Bill. Bilderberg means the foundation of Bill.
The foundation,
foundation of
the
Bill.
sun god. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or in other words, the rock.
And of course, the Bilderberg group is the dark occult, so they're talking about the black sun. Okay, there's the sun.
Yeah.
And there's like a love and an appreciation for how God made the world and how God made the universe and the love for the sun in the mystery schools. And then there's the dark occult that worship the black sun and get all of us to worship various concepts that may be linguistically linked to the black sun.
Yeah. That duality again, extremely important to the spiritual and occult world.
Yeah.
Yeah. They always have that
Church is
duality.
built. And believe me, it is being built upon that foundation. We have a prince in the royal family of England that is going to become king at some future point, and his name is Bill, Prince William. Well, do you think they named the future king Bill or William accidentally? I don't think it is.
Oops. Oops, we gave the show away.
That's their god.
A happy little accident.
That's why the English royalty vacation at Balmoral Castle.
Mm-hmm.
They go there to learn the morals of Baal. Okay? And the castle
right there.
where the most ritual sacrifice during any given year is held is Amarwa. I mean, look.
By the way, if Mark Passio is telling you that Amarwa Castle is where the sacrifices are happening, this man knows exactly what he's talking about. Okay, at the beginning of this very video, he goes through where we at. We're at 3:43:05. He goes through his it's about right here-ish. Nope, probably before that. Or is it after? What is Satanism? Yeah, I think it's around here. Here it is. He goes through his initiation process. Okay, this is somebody, Mark, Rasher, his name's Passio now, has been appointed to the office of priest. This is a priest class level person. 3:41:05, right?
Yeah.
That is given this information. So this is not somebody who's theorizing. No, this is somebody that's saying this because he knows exactly what he's talking about.
To learn the morals of Baal. Okay? And the castle where the most ritual sacrifice during any given year is held is Amarwa. I mean, look at the accounts that Fritz Springmeier gathered, and also that I believe Bryce Taylor talked about the things that go on at Amarwa, or perhaps it was I can't remember who did the talked about the reptilians with David Icke. Arizona Wilder, thank you. Arizona Wilder talked about the occult rituals that take place, the human sacrifice rituals that take place at Amarwa Castle. Where is it located? It's located in Boulogne, Belgium. Which
you can't make this shit up.
Of course it is.
By the way, Belgium is the proposed seat of the world government at Brussels. Now, Boulogne, named after the sun bull god, Bel or Bill, just happens to be directly next to another little settlement called Munio. So you have Munio and Boulogne, the sun and the moon. It's coincidence, though. You might think this is all baloney. I think people just can't see the connections because they're a little bullheaded.
Yeah.
They're rigidly attached to their belief system.
Boom.
Yeah.
Now, if this slide right here doesn't tell you something, that the word belief starts with the homage to Bel, right? Depending on who you talk to, Bel or Baal.
Yep.
There's you ask any Caribbean, any old school Caribbean, do you believe blah blah blah? Do you believe in God? They say no. A belief is not knowledge. A belief requires faith. I know God. That's what they say. I don't
Yep.
believe, I know. And
Yeah.
know is known in the occult world as the lost word. Not just KNOW, that also, but NO. No. Not
Yep.
saying I say no to God, but just no as in you false gods trying to tell me what to do, what to think, how to be, blah blah blah, what time, how
Yeah.
much time I should sacrifice to your empowerment. No. And we
Yes.
have lost our ability to say no as a human family. And we need to
Yep.
regain that ability. We need to reclaim our, capacity for naysaying.
Agreed. Yeah. Can't please everybody. Got to say no.
And when you're unable to say no, you are like this. You're like the, oh, you can't see my mouse, I guess. You are like the guy on the right with his head in the sand and consequently his ass in the air.
Yep.
That's the belief systems, the belief systems that they give everybody. And Jay talked about it as the lie is in there as well. Bell's lies. The dark sun gods and the dark solar cults lies. I think it's going to take a lot of courage, otherwise known as boldness or having some balls, to really change the trajectory that we're on as a species.
I like that.
I think we need to be hit, we need to be struck with noetic lightning, with the lightning bolts. And maybe the light bulb will go on.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe people will start paying attention to things like the Bill of Rights and the Liberty Bell, positive symbols for human freedom in our society. Maybe they could even listen to some of the words of wisdom in the New Testament of the Bible. The Bible.
This is not a Christian, by the way.
Maybe once we start doing that, we'll develop the ability to achieve balance.
And I'll just say this too, I'm kind of saying this to you personally, but I think you'll have a good response to it. I think all truthers that are really serious about the work love Christ, regardless of their take on whether or not religion is healthy. I think Christ's example, whether it's viewed as an allegory for how to live your life, how to structure your self, and what a real self mastery journey should lead to, or you think fondly of Yeshua, who seems to actually have walked the earth and maybe taught some of the things that are in the Bible attributed to Jesus Christ. But regardless of if you go by the historicity route or the allegory route or the astrotheology route, whatever, I think most, if not all, really serious truthers view the teachings and example of Christ in that story as valuable. What do you think about that?
Yeah, and I would say that it's not even so much about the importance of the person himself, but the qualities that he's generally associated with, right? It's not the character in name that matters. It's, his actions, what is it exactly that he's spoken about doing rather than what's spoken about, who he was. And, my personal take on that, because I'm not a Christian, I'm not a follower of Christ, I'm not even convinced of his existence, per se. So I follow, for me personally, I follow the teachings and traditions of Gnosticism, which, while based in spirituality, it's more about like just observance of the world around you, the things that you can actually see, prove, analyze, and form your own thoughts and opinions, judgments, whatever, on things like that. But
test and try to get repeated results, right?
Yeah, and honestly, the word Christ itself is actually based on an older root word, which is Christos, Greek, and Christos is not a person; it's an archetype, it's a quality, it's a mindset. is
Oh
what
yeah,
it is.
it's also oil.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's based in the light. And if you think about, like you just
Mhm.
said, oil, you think about the anointing oil,
Yes.
it's put on
That.
the forehead, the pineal gland, by the way,
Yep.
at the front there. So, yeah, again, it's more about the qualities, regardless of like how you believe or who you believe, Jesus was, But I've seen examples of people who even outside of Christians, pagans, and even Satanists, whatever, um, I think can all pretty much agree on and acknowledge that the qualities that the character of Jesus is supposed to represent. That's what everybody should strive for, you know,
Yes.
and that's the whole idea behind the story, regardless whether or not. Because we're not going to debate about whether or not Jesus exists. We weren't there. We don't know. You know, we have no way of knowing because of what's been changed, altered, hidden, destroyed throughout all
Well,
of history.
and there's no body.
And there's nobody.
He
We have no
rose
proof.
up apparently. So yeah.
Right. But aside from that,
Mhm.
the stories themselves are allegories. It's like any other story, like any other fairy tale, like any other movie that you watch. You watch the movie not just because of the characters that are in it, but you watch the movie, it brings to mind Hallmark movies for me first. Those are feel good movies. It's always a love story, there's always a happy ending,
Yeah,
whatever.
old Lifetime joints.
Yeah, the old Lifetime stuff. So you watch the movie because of the story and what it represents, the qualities of the characters, what they represent,
The point of a teaching is not the teaching. The point of a teaching is the
Right.
actions that follow.
Right.
The point
What
of a
does that,
teaching is the change in the heart of the man
yeah.
receiving, or man or woman receiving the teaching.
And how does that lesson, affect who you become as a result?
Right.
Not just the source material itself, but how does that source material make you feel?
Right.
What kind of thoughts go through your mind when you hear this or that, and how does that affect who you want to be as a consequence?
I'm very heavily exploring, and we'll do a full solo episode on this one day. What the hell is he supposed to do when he gets back? What is he supposed to do? Because here's the thing, right? And I'm not, because I don't use this channel to try and shit on religionists. I don't have an interest. I used to have it. I was younger once. I used to have an interest in that. I don't have an interest in that anymore. And
Yeah.
I wonder certain things, especially about the book of Revelations or the promises of the return and just the concept of the return of the Savior, which goes beyond Christianity in
hmm
general. I mean, we even have fictional stories that, their whole thing is like the return of the superhero,
It's
right?
just another version of the hero story. It's no different than Batman or the Avengers.
Right. In a sense, same thing. And
Yeah.
the return of Christ is supposed to be the initiation into the new life that human beings are going to live. But the thing about that whole scenario is God does not disrupt a human being's free will. No matter what a human being is getting ready to do, it's written and it's apparent that the creator of human beings and the world and universe we live in does not take away the free will. Therefore, first of all, he was here once, apparently. First of all, he was apparently here once, as the story tells, and he already gave a perfect teaching because he was a perfect being and he was a teacher. So he was here, he gave the perfect teaching. The perfect teaching was written down by people inspired by the gospel or whatever, and he gave the perfect teaching, and the world got exceedingly worse after his departure.
hmm
Okay, and it was already pretty bad as far as how human beings treat each other, how tiny hat folk were doing in the banking and in the temples with people's money, how monarchs like those at the top of Rome were so arrogant and so um distant, even though they were right there with the people that they ruled over, indifferent to their
Right.
suffering, indifferent to their needs, and selfish. So the world was already pretty bad. He came, gave a perfect teaching, and the world went to shit for 2,000 years.
hmm
If he comes back and gives another perfect teaching, is he gonna like die again and then be like, yeah, I'll be back again? Is he gonna walk around, just walk down every known street on the whole planet and just point to people one by one. You get to heaven. You get to heaven. You not so much. You maybe give it 5 years. You hell no. You get to heaven. Like you know what I'm saying? Like what is he
Yep.
supposed to actually do? Because if it's just another teaching, or if it amounts to just another perfect teaching, the most perfectest teaching,
Mm-hmm.
and he as God or God is not going to disrupt the free will of human beings, then that means that one, it implies the first teaching was inadequate, which I don't think Christians would agree with. And
Mm-hmm.
secondly, it would mean that the change would still have to be on an individual basis. We would still be at square one where we are now, where we as individuals have to, one, wake up, two, embrace the truth, and then three, live the truth, all on our own faith in the truth. Okay, and I don't mean faith in the Hallmark sense.
Right.
Real faith. Faith without works is dead, right? I'm talking about alive faith.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wrestling with this question, not as a Christian trying to be like, oh, he's my Lord and Savior, and I have these questions. No, like what is he supposed to do when he gets back for the believers? What exactly is he supposed to do? Because if God already decided, as an all-knowing, beyond space and time creator of all things, and all loving and all merciful, he already decided who's getting in and who doesn't. Right? If we go with the heaven and hell story, he already made that choice.
Right.
Years ago. Okay, back in Adam and Eve, he already made the choice who in the year 2027, when Jesus comes back, gets into heaven.
Right.
So what is he supposed to do? What exactly is supposed to change with the return of the Savior?
Exactly.
Because if it's not a forced change in the hearts of man, which would be a violation of free will, then
Yep.
what is it? It's my question. I don't know. I don't know, and I don't put that pressure on any individual Christian to try and answer in some sort of debate or anything. I'm not trying to shit on y'all, but just what the fuck? What is he supposed to do?
Right. Like, what's his job when he comes down here? What is he coming down here for? If he already knows, it really doesn't make any sense. It's definitely something to think about. And I think to come up with any kind of explanation for it, you kind of have to wing it. You basically make something up as you go. Because, again, like you said, with the topic of free will, he's not going to come down here and just like snap his fingers and all of a sudden everything's better.
Right, now we just don't have hatred and jealousy and lust, and we just don't have it no more.
Yeah, that takes away choice, and then at that point, we're no longer people who, I kind of like to think of it like this, if you think about your parents, right? Do you think that your parents want you to love them because you choose to love them? Since if we're going with this whole theme of like, we're all God's children, right? Which is it's a foundational theme in Christianity. So when you look at your parents, do you think that they would want you to love them because you choose to, or because they said so, or you're forced to, right? Like, snap my fingers, and because I provide for you and do all this, you have to love me. Well, that takes away from your free will,
100%.
It's your choice.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I have that question in mind. Auren, thank you so very much for coming back and for agreeing to be here on Fridays. This was definitely fun. We didn't even get to a third Instagram video, so we got hella content to still react to. You know what I'm saying? Remind people where you're at, TikTok and all that real quick.
That's right. Yep. TikTok, my only social media platform. My name right here. I don't know if it's on screen. Dragon Na Thierin. That's how you spell it right there. So, yeah, just look me up. I go into all the deep topics. Nothing's off limits. My delivery can be a little abrasive. I pull no punches when I deliver my messages. So, and a lot of my stuff's long form. So, my videos run from 7 to 8, some 10 minutes. I've actually got a 30-minute video on there. That's one of my favorites. So, yeah, if you feel like, you want to get caught up on what's happening in the world around you and what's being done to you, visit me on TikTok, binge my videos, and you'll learn a lot. You'll be pretty much caught up to where we are, I think, at that point. That's always been my goal, is to kind of, give people the broader picture of what's actually happening, rather than focusing on this talking point, that talking point, this issue, that issue, because it really is so much bigger than that. All of this, and everything's connected. So
Yeah. And remember, there's only one God, and his name is Bill.
that's right. Yeah. Bill Clinton, bills to pay.
Bill Clinton did not have sexual relations with that woman. Y'all be cool. Today is Friday. May or may not see you tomorrow. A great audience. But if I don't see you tomorrow, I will see you on Monday. Peace and love always in all ways.